All right, guys. So the biggest thing we're going to be doing today is just going over the syllabus for lab. Again, the exact format of experiments outside of videos, we don't really know yet, but fingers crossed it'll be something cool. Nonetheless, we can look over the policies and procedures for the semester, as well as just like how points are going to be allocated. So syllabus overview, let's click to download our syllabus, and then we can move through this. Again, these times, oh, there we go. All right, again, these times don't really mean much to us right now because everything is going to be 100% online. Not only 100% online, but also asynchronous, which means self-paced. So just like lecture, I'm going to open up activities at the beginning of the week, and you're going to have 7 days, that full week, to complete those activities. Should we get the okay at some point in this semester, these times might be relevant, but you know, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. So just welcome, of course. Again, office hours are going to be the same. There's a slide dedicated to office hours that hopefully you've seen with that Zoom link. But just again, I want to emphasize, do not wait until office hours. Email me. Let's set up a meeting, and we can just bang out that question immediately rather than waiting to these specified times. Okay, so then these are both the description of the course and the objectives. I encourage you to read through these, although again, they sort of make more sense to read towards the end of the course when you actually know this vocabulary, whereas right now it might all sound a little like a foreign language. This will be our textbook. There are going to be assigned readings from the textbooks about techniques. A lot of the experiments that we're going to be doing are going to be based off of experiments in the textbook. However, I kind of like the idea of giving you different information than what they have. Not to mention the fact that since we're moving completely online, the procedures in the textbook aren't going to be quite as important as they would have been in a previous semester. But nonetheless, this is our textbook. I will say that, you know, should we ever get to the point where we're back in person, a lab coat and goggles are going to be necessary. If I can get you guys glassware, those will also be necessary. So there's a lot of moving, but this was just changed less than a week ago. So there's a lot of moving stuff here. There are going to be discussion forums. So just like in lecture, I have to take attendance. And so your participation in discussion forums are going to be how I measure your attendance in the course. Drop policy is the same as lecture. I'll let you guys read that over. These key dates, something to keep in mind. Again, if you're enrolled after this date here, that means that you're going to get a grade in my course. Okay, so the outline, so there's another page dedicated to the schedule. This week we had specifically set aside for you guys to just sort of understand what's going on. And the next week is when we would be doing our check-in. So we planned a check-in activity. Of course, it's not going to be in person, but nonetheless. So again, this week, all we're really doing is this introduction and the syllabus and the schedule. The next week, you'll be doing some glassware research. And then the following week after that, this solubility experiment actually lends itself quite well to being a video experiment. So that's the plan for that. After that, I don't have exactly what's going to go down yet. I mean, our base mode that's been approved are these videos. I would love to be able to do something a little bit above and beyond that, but all still very much so in the works. Okay. So now, again, how these points are going to be distributed. Each experiment is going to be worth 30 points. Those 30 points are going to be broken down like this. There's going to be a pre-lab assignment. That's going to be a quiz or a discussion or something like that. That's based around the reading that you were supposed to do beforehand. Okay, so making sure you understand what the heck is going on in this experiment. I have to say that this is the #1 sticking point for people in lab, even in in-person labs, is not doing the proper preparation and just showing up and hoping to fake your way through it, okay? I specifically do 33.333% of my points dedicated to pre-lab to preparation, because there's no way to retain that stuff unless you show up prepared, right? So you've got to do the readings beforehand. You have to understand what's going on before you get in there and start working with your hands, or maybe in this case, our computers, but we'll see. For each experiment, there's going to be a participation assignment associated with it. So probably something like a discussion where you discuss with your peers about some aspect of the experiment. And then the last thing is your post-lab report, where you will take your data that you've collected throughout your experiment, right? So if we do an online experiment, I'm going to show you the mass balance, and you're going to record that data. I'm going to show you my volumetric measurement. You're going to record that data, and then you're going to analyze your data just like you would in a normal experiment, okay? And that's going to be in your post-lab report. By week 3, when we have this all laid out for the solubility experiment, the exact format of the pre-lab assignment, participation assignment, and post-lab report will make a little bit more sense. But every experiment will be worth 30 points. There is one exception, which is at one point in this semester, we're going to have what's called a formal lab report, and that's going to be worth 90 points. So 3 of the other experiments combined, okay? This is going to be written in the format that's much like a scientific journal article. There's going to be an introduction, an abstract, your data, your methods, a conclusion, all right? All these aspects that are the same as a scientific journal article will be in there. It's basically going to be like a long report. I will get you the exact grading rubric for that and what my expectations are closer to. This is going to occur quite a bit later in this semester. We're going to build in our techniques and in our chemistry knowledge, our organic chemistry knowledge, before we get there. As of now, we're still anticipating an ability to return to lab at the, return to in-person instruction by the end of the semester. And so there is still a lab practical scheduled. If that doesn't happen, if that doesn't materialize, we're not able to go back to class or able to go back to campus, this will likely change, okay? Just like before, right? So if you do have a disability, please contact a DSPNS. They will help you get through all that and get your accommodations taken care of. Grading scale, same as before. I'm going to round to the ones place. Okay, makeup work can be made up, but it will be considered late. So let's look at the late work policy. Assignments will be due on Sunday at 11:59 p.m. So they'll be open first thing on Monday morning, and they'll be closed last thing on Sunday night, giving you those 7 days. If you miss that due date, you can and should turn an assignment in late. I can't stress enough how much missing some points on an assignment because it's late is way better in my grade book than a 0, okay? So you can and should turn assignments in late. There will be a penalty of 10% per day, all right? So get it in there quick. Extra credit may be offered. To be honest, in lab, probably not. Grades are pretty good, so yeah. And besides that, you know, the one other thing that I would say revolving around academic dishonesty, especially plagiarism and cheating in lab, it's very, very tempting to collaborate a little bit too much with your peers on your lab report. Again, as I said, there is a clear, bright line about having other people's work on your device. At that point, you are improperly sharing information. The whole purpose of you being here is to create your own body of work. And so I hope that you guys take that mission seriously and don't be engaging in shady behavior here, okay? Again, these key websites to keep in mind, because this course has its own course number, we have to schedule a final exam, but I don't have to actually give a final exam. So we have final exam dates, but there's not any sort of a final exam planned for lab, nor yeah, don't worry about that, okay? So yeah, so here is just the basic introduction to our course. I really, really wish I had a few more details to share with you guys about what exactly these various experiments will look like. Unfortunately, we're in a very tough time, especially being organic chemists. the simplest things that we could do is just provide you with videos of experiments. But again, my goal is going to be to get you guys some glassware to handle, okay? So sit tight. I know this week was just sort of a brief introduction. Next week, your whole assignment will be to be researching that various organic chemistry glassware. So hopefully you guys think that's pretty cool. And then from then on, we'll actually start diving into some experiments and some techniques.